Welcome to the Woodpreneur podcast, the best podcast for the business and marketing side of the sawmill, lumber, and wood industry. What's a woodpreneur? If you have a business where you make money as a woodworker, sawmill owner, selling slabs, or a content creator, then you're a woodpreneur. My name's Steve Larziliere, and I started Woodpreneur Life, Acres of Timber, and the Woodpreneur podcast just for makers, wood entrepreneurs, and small business owners just like you. We're on a mission to empower thousands of wood businesses to grow sustainably and put out great products. Each week, I interview makers, sawyers, content creators, and 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs that know the wood industry inside and out. With topics covering everything from the urban lumber movement, sustainable sourcing and design, we'll discuss the ins and outs of how to grow, monetize, and fully immerse yourself in the woodpreneur lifestyle. If you're a hobbyist, a full-time wood business owner, part-time entrepreneur who wants to become a content creator, or quit your day job to pursue your dreams, the Woodpreneur podcast is just for you. Thanks so much for listening. Now enjoy this episode. Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Woodpreneur podcast. This is your host, Steve. Today's guest is Ken DeCost from Materia Millwork. How you doing, Ken?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. I was just talking about how beautiful your branding is. And why don't you tell everybody about Materia? Like, how'd you get started?
Yeah, so Materia is kind of it was actually born from NS Builders, the general contractor, the home builder. Not sure if you're familiar with them.
Yeah, with Nick. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we started, we had a cabinet shop when we were all kind of under one roof a couple years ago, and kind of got to the point where the cabinet shop was growing, NS Builders was growing, and it just made sense to break Materia off onto its own company. Mm-hmm. And prior to that split, we were building for only NS Builders. Okay. And now that we're Materia, we've opened our doors to other builders, other GCs, direct to homeowner, some smaller projects, things like that. So this happened 2 or 3 years ago now, and it's been insanity ever since.
And what's your background? How did you get into this space?
So like a lot of people in our industry, I grew up with a father who was in the trades. He was a carpenter as well, not specifically into cabinet making, but I grew up in that industry, kind of grew up around it, got on the tools at an early age. And then I actually didn't want anything to do with the trades and building. So I tried to, in my later teen years, go in a different direction, always kind of came back to the trades. And then around 2010 or so, I landed in my first shop, and I haven't left. Been in the shop ever since.
Same shop?
No, this would be the third shop.
Okay. The metaphorical shop. You've been in the shop. You guys, yeah. That's cool. What did you help you were working with Nick at NS doing the millwork side, and then you split off, and then is that what happened?
Yeah, exactly. So when I started with Nick at NS Builders, it was the cabinet shop. While the physical shop was here, they really didn't have the full custom cabinetry. They were still making some custom pieces, but it wasn't to the extent it was today. I saw the opportunity to bring in what I knew, the cabinetry side of things, and help grow the businesses. And, here we are a couple of years later where the cabinet side of things just got so in demand that we ended up breaking it off into its own company.
What do you mainly sell?
It's actually a lot of full home packages. So that will be, we'll have a kitchen, some cabinetry in the primary bedroom, the primary vanities. So current project
under the stairs, mud rooms, like all of it.
Everything. Yep. That being said, we don't shy away if someone is like, hey, I just need a pantry cabinet or a piece of furniture. Like, we'll certainly fit that stuff in, and especially if it's a cool project, then we get really excited for it. And it's not like the projects are too small, anything like that. But typically our clients are either doing like a full renovation or a new home build, and that's kind of where we come in and outfit the whole place.
How big is the team?
So we have there's 4 of us right now. At the end of last year, we did a little bit of downsizing, and there's 4 of us currently and we are looking for some more experienced cabinet makers to join our team as we ramp back up over here.
What's kind of been the biggest investment that you've made in the business so far since splitting it off?
I would say it's people. A lot of the tools have remained the same. The shop space has remained the same. We are looking for a larger shop space, but it's really been people. A lot of the guys that have been with us for several years. So
Uh-huh.
we're dedicating a lot of time to them, and continuing to do so. Everybody wants to learn and grow, and we're happy to have that kind of happen under our roof and see these guys thrive.
Um, in your role, like, what's your day to day look like?
So I'm kind of split between office and the shop fabrication side of things. So the last
You're still
couple
building
years,
yourself?
I am now, since we downsized last year, I got
Yeah.
back out to the shop about a month or two ago and have been working with the guys in the shop, splitting the duties between office and shop, but primarily in the shop right now. It's been a lot of late nights on the office side of things to catch up
Yeah.
until we can bring on some more team members here, and I can transition back into more of the office side of things, which includes like client relations, working on pricing out projects, designing the projects, reviewing the shop drawings. Tons and tons of stuff on that side of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you what do you love about your work?
I really like that no 2 days are the same.
Yeah.
I like that a lot of what we're doing is unique and challenging. So a lot of our clients are coming to us with stuff that is um, really something special. Well,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, we do a lot of just like, hey, this is a pretty straightforward full overlay flat panel kitchen, for example. But then there's a lot of people who want some wild curved things or some crazy veneers, and figuring out those kind of challenges are kind of what pushes me and keeps me going. I really enjoy that side of it specifically.
Yeah. 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 It must be fun to get back into the shop, right? Like after being in like office mode for a while to get your hands dirty again.
It is. It's cool, and that kind of ties in with the last question too, where it's another thing that's huge is standing back at the end of the day or the end of the project and like I built that. Like
Hmm.
I made this from a pile of nothing, and that's just one of the most rewarding things about it as well. But I did have a little bit of hesitation getting back into the shop. I don't want to say it's a step backwards for me, but my sights were set somewhere else, and then jumped back
Yeah.
into the shop. But it's cool, to get back in there. I think we've had some newer guys join the team more recently, so I think maybe they can now see that I'm not just some guy sitting in the office who doesn't know anything. That I do
Sure.
actually
Sure.
know what I'm doing when it comes to the fabrication side of it too, and then help kind of educate them on some more detailed things. I'm working shoulder to shoulder with one of the guys right now, kind of teaching him how we're doing a couple of different projects here, stuff that he's never done before. So it's just cool to kind of train them as well.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a double edge there, where it takes a little bit of time, and it's incredibly busy at the moment. So we don't necessarily have a ton of time to dedicate to that
Yeah.
currently,
Yeah.
but it is cool to kind of get them, uh, I guess, showing them the ropes and kind of getting them up to speed on a few things.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you in terms of people, how are you finding them?
So that's been the tricky part here, and truthfully, might be jumping ahead here, but that was my question for you a little bit later. Is
Well, let's save that. Let's save it then. I'll ask you another question.
all right.
Now, what in terms of you as a leader, how are you personally and professionally developing yourself?
That's another tricky area. A lot of leadership books, but there's only so much that I can kind of get from that,
Yeah.
and just kind of reflecting on past things that may or may not have happened in the shop, how I should have handled this, how I did handle that. and then trying to approach it from, every time you hear something new or see a seminar on leadership, how
Yeah.
can I take, past experiences, what would I have done different with this new view?
Yeah.
We're, I say we, I mean, me and some of the other guys on the team too, Nick, we're always kind of looking for that next kind of leadership step. And
Hmm.
if we see stuff come our way, a seminar or a course or a class, something like that, especially when it's local, we've jumped into a few of those, and
Yeah,
it's cool and that stuff's helpful. I wish there was a little bit more, or I knew where to look, or that I had the time. Frankly, a lot of this stuff seems to
for
pop
sure.
up, and it's just ill-timed for one reason or another.
For sure. For sure. Do you, in terms of being able to get clients, are you, what percentage are between like in-house NS versus other people, and how are you getting those other clients?
Yeah, so there's right now it's probably about a 50-50 split between NS and other clients.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, our first year in business, actually, we didn't do anything for NS builders until maybe the last month of the year. So
Wow.
it was
That's how
very
busy you
heavy.
are.
Yeah, it was very heavy on the other side. Last year, it was pretty heavy on the NS builder side. And this year, it's about a 50-50 split. And how we're finding them is, yes, all the NS stuff, Nick is bringing in a lot of those clients.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's still Nick's company too, right? So there's a lot of overlay in there. People, I mean, Nick has and NS Builders has a huge following on all the social media channels.
Yeah.
So clients are constantly seeing that. He's deep into other builders. He goes to a ton of networking events.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he's constantly feeding our name. People are constantly seeing us on their feeds and our feeds on the social stuff. So we haven't really had to go out and look for work. It's all
Yeah.
been inbound, which is fantastic, and
Yeah.
not a lot of people can say that. So it's great. We've done very little marketing on our side of things, and I say that, but Nick's been growing this for 10 years. It's not like it just happened one day for us, and that's he's done a tremendous job of building that following where most of this is coming inbound,
Inbound.
and
Yeah.
yeah. There's several designers that we work closely with and have built great relationships with over the years.
Yeah.
So a lot of stuff comes from them. We actually have a lot of repeat clients too.
Yeah.
People that may have done one area in their home this year, they're doing another area next year, so on and so
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
What's the project that you could do all day and have so much fun with and is super profitable?
um, I mean, I don't know about profitable, but I really enjoy. Well, I guess are you talking larger scale or specifics, kind of like in the shop working?
Yeah, just specific shops, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, I really enjoy the veneering side of
Yeah.
things.
Okay.
I'm big on making sure that everything is grain matched throughout the whole project, and that's the stuff that I kind of geek over and really enjoy doing and could kind of keep doing every day.
And do you think like what's the sort of, I mean, aside from it being enjoyable, is it the most sort of profitable, that kind of?
I wouldn't say that it's. I mean, it's certainly profitable, but is it the most? Probably not. It's very labor intensive.
Yeah.
The
But it
materials
has the
cost
biggest impact though, right? Like it,
100%.
it has the
So
biggest impact, which is so crazy when you look at like the things that take the most amount of time does have the biggest impact, but it's not the most profitable.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this just takes an absorbent amount of time, right? And not everybody appreciates that. Not everybody cares, and that's totally fine. It's not their job to do it and to understand that. And half the time, they probably, they being the client, um, may not even know the difference. But I kind of like to say if we built one thing one way and then built it, grain matched versus non-grain matched, they'd probably stand back and be like, "This one looks better." I don't know why. I just know that that one looks better, and that's fantastic. That validates it for me, where it's that grain matching and the streamlined kind of look through everything. they're not a cabinet maker. It's not their job to
Yeah,
know all those details. They just got to enjoy it once it's all complete.
for sure, for sure. And then talk about your branding. Like how did you sort of pick that direction and put branding? It looks like you put it top on your list in terms of
Yeah, I think we might have even started the branding before we
had a
totally.
business.
Yeah. Again, Nick's big on the branding, as am I. I enjoy that kind of stuff. So we have a branding team that we were using over at NS Builders. Of course, we brought them into the fold, and they're incredible designers when it comes to that stuff. So we kind of
Yeah,
gave them a few parameters where we knew we wanted pink. We didn't want like a hot pink logo. We wanted it to be kind of a muted tone,
yeah,
and we wanted it to feel like it was a luxury brand. I mean, we what we're doing is very expensive. It is by all means a luxury brand.
for
So
sure.
we wanted to kind of take some inspiration from some of those luxury brands and kind of tie that into our branding. So when
Yeah.
people see, we have a big pink fan and it says Materia on the side of it, and when people like it catches their eye and like, well,
And
what's
it's
Materia?
consistent too, right? Like it's consistent.
Yeah, we have it throughout all of our company apparel, the website, the vans. Everything is the same.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. And I appreciate that. I mean, as a marketer and a brander, I'm like the fact that be here's the thing, it's like people are spending a lot of money with you,
Hmm.
right? And people that spend a lot of money pay attention to those levels of details, right? And
Right.
so if you want to make a big impression, you should go out and make a great impression, like um
Yeah.
that's so cool. Um what what's coming up for you this coming year?
So actually, this year's really exciting. So currently, we're working on a pretty big project with NS Builders. We have another project with a repeat client, absolutely amazing person. He gives us some pretty free reign on what we want to do, or not necessarily what we want to do, but how we kind of approach it and the kind of final design here. So we're building out a few things for him that are just like absolutely stunning, super modern. It's two closets. I know they don't sound big, they're massive. One of them is an attic, and it's the whole top floor. But later this year, we're actually doing the cabinetry for our first development project. So if you've been following along with Nick and NS Builders, we have a project called 45 White Oak, where essentially it's a spec build. It's a home that Nick and of Possible Design or Architect has spent a tremendous amount of time planning out, and it's a home that Nick has been building some great homes, but they haven't all really been our personal style, the style that we really love. The homes are great, don't get me wrong, but it hasn't been the design that we're after. If you look through Nick and I's like Instagram feed and we're messaging back and forth, it's always like these super modern homes. And this is our opportunity to bring something to our market that is exactly what we really enjoy. So that's kicked off. It's currently being framed. So a couple months here in the summer, we're going to
Is this
start.
the white oak one?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I saw that online. Yeah, that looked
Yeah.
really cool.
So we're getting ready to kind of finalize the interior design, and it's a lot of super modern floor to ceiling cabinetry, a lot of
Sick.
stone mixed in there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be it's gonna be something. So we're
That's it.
excited about
I
that one.
really, what I like. It's so interesting. Typically, the first, with this podcast, we started going to like smaller wood pieces. So like the manufacturing side, and then the sort of unattached furniture side, and then we started going into like the built-in and the cabinetry side, and just like so many different layers to and applications of wood. And
Hmm.
I'm actually super I what I love about what you do is like it's a necessity in a home. Like there's
Yeah.
space and you need well built, especially if it's being utilized.
Hmm.
like all spaces in a house should, right? Like you add so much more value, to the home. And I think that's what I love about, what you do is just like the value add is so high that, yeah, you got to pay a lot of money. And the cry, like you have to pay a lot of money, right? Um, it's not like, yeah, it's anyway, I appreciate what you do and how you're doing it. And it's super cool. And I'm excited to see that project continue.
Same.
Um,
Thanks.
all right. So this is a part of podcast where I give you any marketing or business advice. So is there anything that you need help with?
Yeah, so this circles back to the question that you had asked before, where how we are finding our team.
Yeah.
And that's the area that we're struggling with. And specifically, where can we find skilled tradesmen, skilled cabinet makers? We've done the LinkedIn route, we've done the um, Indeed, we've tried like our social feeds, reaching out there, and we've gotten a ton of people that have reached out in response
Yeah.
to those.
Yeah.
And, we've gotten everywhere from like the high school kids that are like, hey, I'm still in high school, but I would love to learn. And that's great. We wish we could take on all of them. And then we've gotten the people that are like, hey, I'm looking for a career change. But right now, we're specifically looking for people that have had, several years of cabinet making experience or have several years of cabinet making experience that need very little direction or hand holding.
Yeah.
And that kind of seems to be where we're struggling to find those people. Like I said, we just don't have the bandwidth right now to bring on some of the more entry level guys that need a lot of training.
Yeah.
Uh, we wish we could, but just right now we're a little heavy in that department. So we're trying to bring on some more
Experience.
skilled guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
and finding those has been proven difficult. So
All
that's
right.
where.
The biggest problem is that you're looking for skilled people. Two is that you've been posting on your socials and you've been posting jobs out there.
Mhm.
So the thing that I think about a lot when it comes to hiring is the same way that you go out and you get clients is the same way that you have to go out and get talent. And so first in the first part of your business, it's always about client acquisition. And then the second part is about talent acquisition. But it's literally the same thing because the most talented, seasoned people are not actually looking for a job.
Mhm. Yeah.
They're not looking for a job. So you actually have to go after them. So you have to build a network of people and like a sneaky way that I would do this is so if I were to reverse engineer this problem, I would uh, find and build a community of all of the talented cabinet makers in your area. Invite them all for beer and networking, and then just figure out who is available from there. That's
Mhm.
literally what I would do. Like, because everything, if you start posting on Indeed, you start posting on LinkedIn, you're literally making assumptions that a great person is looking to leave their job at that moment
Right.
when it's literally the opposite way. And, you guys are building a house. What are you going to do? You're going to partner with the realtor. The realtor is going to send a mailer out to all of their clients and they're going to come to an open house. Isn't that right?
Mhm.
Right? For the White Oak house, right? That's literally how
Oh.
you're going to do it. You're going to that's what so instead of finding like a mill worker, I mean, instead of finding a realtor, I would make quote unquote you the realtor, and you literally go out and you build a community of other mill workers. The second thing that I would potentially do is go to Facebook groups and under Facebook groups, uh, your personal Facebook page, you have your when you go to the about section of a Facebook page, you can see all of the members in there. And
Mm.
there are members that you have things in common with, and then there are members in your area. So I would go to all the cabinet and woodworking Facebook groups and look to see who is in Boston and then friend them
Mm.
and then have a conversation on DM with them. And if you're like really struggling to find people, I would do half a day less in the shop or a day less in the shop and
Mm.
maybe push out timelines a little bit further so that you can spend time to hire that right person.
Mm. Yeah, I mean that's interesting. So the open house kind of thing, we actually have been talking about doing something just like that. You know, having a meetup here at our shop. Um, so that's something we are looking to do. So I mean that's
Yeah.
great. And then the Facebook thing is interesting too. So I mean I have a Facebook. I made it, you know, who knows how many years and years ago, but
Yeah.
I haven't been to Facebook in probably over a decade.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
all that is kind of new for me too. So I'll have to pop in and kind of check out those groups, especially since you can kind of see who's local.
You can see who's local. Yeah, I mean that's really the biggest thing is like the talented people are not looking for jobs.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, and I would also review what your comp package is and your benefit package is like,
Mm-hmm.
and figure out because if you're going to get somebody that's younger that works for you for a little while, like younger people have different needs than older people, you know, like
Yeah.
it's a different generation.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally a different generation. You have to appeal to what young people want now. Younger employees in the marketplace, Gen Z, millennials, like.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people out there. You just literally need to find them. You have to, but it's not just find them. You have to go to where they are,
Right.
or you create a space for them. The other last thing that you could do, truly, is to uh, have a. I said this to somebody before. Have a 6-week uh, paid apprentice program, and you invite 5 people. They each get
Mm-hmm.
paid. Whoever lasts at the end, like Shark Tank style or Survivor style, they get a job. And you build out a little curriculum where it's like week 1 you do this, week 2 you do this, week 3 you do it, week 4 you do this, week 5 you do this, and by the end of the 5 weeks or 6 weeks, you've trained everybody on the basics of your brand, basics of building, basics of the shop, safety, and like literally, and you can run that every 6 to 8 weeks. You just
Mm-hmm.
invite people, and you just because as a leader too, like as a leader, what you want to do truly is you need to spend your time developing your talent.
Right.
It's actually not profitable for you to be in the shop, even though that you have to be in the shop. Like you have to be in the shop now, but in the long run, if somebody could do it 70% better, I mean 70% as good as you,
Mm.
80%, and they make straight cuts and they know how to sand and they know how to join or put together things, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And you have enough QA and quality assurance to know what's good and what's not, and you can just train people. But like I go heavy into talent acquisition mode. Like do it like you're trying to sell property. Like treat it like that. Treat talent acquisition like you're trying to get more clients.
Mm.
Is that helpful?
It is, yeah, yeah. There's a couple good nuggets there that we certainly need to put into practice because, like we've made clear, that's kind of the pain point for us at the
Oh yeah,
moment.
dude. I mean, look, I saw that you posted on Facebook, right? Like you posted on Instagram that you're hiring. Like, did you boost that?
No.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like you're only relying on maybe the 3%, 5% of your audience that watched it. And
Right.
they probably aren't they're potential customers, like
Mhm.
I would pop into a Facebook group too, a community Boston Facebook group, and like, hey, I am hiring. Does anybody know any good tradespeople? You
Yeah.
have to go out there. So
Yeah. I mean, that's a good one because it's specific groups. And, we're in such a niche as the cabinet makers. There's people that'll be like, oh, yeah, I've been a field carpenter or a trim carpenter for, 15 years. And like, and you probably do fantastic work, but that's very different than what we do. And
yeah,
I'm not saying we can't train them to do the cabinet making side of things, but we're just not kind of at that point right now. We need somebody that can walk in with a little more comfort
for
in the
sure.
shop.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So being able to kind of niche down in those groups and then niche down further to find people that are
For sure.
in our direct areas sounds like it's going to be a helpful way to go.
Yeah, 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 for sure. And then the last thing that I would do is like whatever the highest quality is that you want in a person, test for that first.
Yeah. So we're not
And
wasting
then
anybody's time.
and then I would test for sort of character and values after. So like whatever the highest value that you want, whether it's attention to detail, whether it's promptness of communication, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
test for that first. And then the
Good.
second thing would be to make sure that they are a cultural fit for your business
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
your values line up.
fair.
Cool. Was that helpful?
It was, yeah. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Awesome. Cool. All right. Why don't you tell everybody your website?
MateriaMillwork.com.
Awesome. Ken, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your story, and keep up the great work. I'm excited to see your future builds.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care. Bye.